Welcome to the 200th broadcast of the T-ROH show. That's your host, Keith. That's 200 episodes. That's quite a bit. We've gone from, I think, claiming the meets and bounds to what we're getting ready to do next. There's a lot to learn. There were a lot of different episodes. Many were asking why I was, a couple of people were asking why we were covering Anna and all that kind of stuff. It was basically because we were teaching people what not to do. All right. And we're going to do that again today. We're going to teach people what not to do and how foolish things can turn real quick. I'm going to take an example of from Flint County, City Council. And then I'm going to show you what happened, what went wrong, the whole deal. Okay. This is what we're going to, let's take a look. All right, here we go. All right. I have no idea what's even going on in here and why they're arguing. Don't know, don't care. Basically because it doesn't make any difference anyways. All right. Now, City of Flint Committee. Yeah, they got their little seal and everything. Looks real pretty. This was September 4th, 2019. And I'm just going to have you listen to some of this about, I don't know, 4 minutes or so. Let's see.
I've instructed my client. You can hear me without the mic. But I've instructed my
But I
client.
want the public to
See, these guys are going to argue. Apparently, this guy's a lawyer. Don't know why he's in there. This is Flint, Michigan. City council between mayor's lawyer and city councilman. Okay, here we go.
hear you.
Answer that question.
Okay, so
Mr. Mays,
Mr.
let me
Ken
finish.
Scott,
Don't interrupt me when I'm talking.
you
Don't do that.
go ahead. But I'm gonna interrupt you because this is our hearing. It's not yours. So go ahead and don't tell me what to do.
I'm gonna tell you one more
Okay,
time.
well you can get up and walk and we'll go across the street.
We can do that.
Okay, whatever you want to do. Y'all, it's y'all politics. I ask a simple question. Go ahead and proceed, and then we're gonna see what you do. I will interrupt in order to keep this right. Madam Chair, when I'm asking questions, I'm gonna do, he ain't gonna run this. Go ahead, Mr. Scott.
Madam Chair, I don't allow nobody to disrespect me or my client. So once you can get him under control, we'll be back. Let's go.
So you leaving? I want the record to show that Mr. Gilchrist is walking out. Now what I want to do is put a...
Okay, stop right there. Now, look at how many people are not there. That's number one. They're having a City of Flint committee meeting. Now, here's the question I have for you. This guy says he's a lawyer. I think this is the mayor. I'm not sure. Didn't do much research on it. I just wanted to get an example of, you know, things descending into chaos and all this other kind of stuff. Now, guess what? Who are these people and what is their legal relationship to the City of Flint Committee? That's a question. Got a guy here, guy back here, lady. I think that's a lady. There's a man there, another guy there. They're all just sitting there. No problem. What is their legal relationship to the City of Flint Committee?
Motion on the floor to subpoena the mayor or ask her to come up here at the next meeting, and I so move.
There's a motion on the floor to subpoena the mayor for the next meeting. Is there a second? There's a motion on the floor, Ms. Fields. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair, let me say this. That looked like something that was staged. And I'm here to tell you this. Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott, you're out of order. You can move and leave. You said you were gone. I'm asking you to do, but you ain't gonna stand in the middle. Point of order. You out of order, Mr. Scott, and your business is over. You don't need to.
Who created the City of Flint Committee? That's just it right there. Who is this guy here to the City of Flint Committee?
Talk to me.
Okay.
You had your chance to talk to me. Why are you walking up here on me? Get on back away from
Councilman
me.
Mays,
Oh, what? Oh, what you doing?
this is inappropriate. We are taking a meeting.
Get away from me.
This is
Get away
inappropriate.
from me. You're out of order. Get the hell away from me. Get the hell away from me. You want to crack me across my head? And I'm going to tell you what. I want this sent
Got
to
this
the
guy
police.
laughing
You ain't
over here.
cracking me across my head. Well, you ain't going to threaten nobody in no public meeting because your man don't want to answer an easy question. I'm going to make a promise to you. You're not going to interrupt this meeting threatening no elected official with no physical violence.
Who elected you? That's my question. Who elected this guy?
I don't care what kind of suit you wear.
Councilman Mays.
I don't
Councilman
care what
Mays.
kind of suit you wear.
Councilman
You
Mays,
way
I'm
out of order.
asking you
and
to
you're
calm
making
down.
your client look bad. So go on with that mess.
Councilman
We in
Mays.
discussion on a motion. Now let me say that, Madam Chair, did you recognize me?
I did, Councilman Mays.
Point of privilege. Point of privilege, Madam Chair.
There's a point of privilege.
Would you
What's your
please
point of-
Point of privilege. Did y'all hear that? That's comrades. That's communism. Point of privilege. Point of privilege, comrade. Point of privilege.
quiet the citizen, please?
Yeah,
We
please.
can't even have a meeting.
If
He's out of
anybody,
order.
Can you quiet the citizen? You hear what they said? Can you quiet the citizen?
if anybody else disrupts this meeting, you will be removed under the disorderly conduct ordinance 31-10.
Disorderly conduct. Okay.
Yes, I would ask Miss Lewis if she could come up to the
That's a big podium. That looks impressive, doesn't it?
podium, please. This is for a special order to discuss the status of the city's water fund and water liens. It's been on every committee meeting, certainly since you took this position.
Okay, so here's a load of crap. Now, okay, in order for these people here in this area to be citizens, they have to have a social compact that created the city charter. There are two separate documents. If there's no social compact, then all of these people are not citizens legally. There's no way they could do it. The only way to be able to get a lawyer into that chair right there, which is from a completely separate association that has nothing to do with this city council, Michigan, or anything else, because their agreements, legal agreements, go all the way back to the City of London under the International Bar Association. So all state bar associations are associated with the American Bar Association, which is associated with the International Bar Association. We've shown this chain of title before. So this is what you have to give up for one man right here to make a living. And that's where that lawyer was sitting right there. Okay. Now let me go ahead and pull this out because it got stuck into, there we go. All right, right here he was sitting. I guess his client was sitting over here. Started arguing with this guy over here. So in order for that to happen,
Thank you.
in order for this guy, meaning the lawyer, that where he was sitting, to be able to have a job, to be able to just simply have a job, because he's international in nature, the people cannot assemble to create a social compact, which in turn creates the city boundaries, which creates the charter, which is the Constitution, bylaws, whatever they want to do. If they want to just basic Constitution, that's fine. To be able to have access to the city, the state of Michigan. Now that's quite a price to pay, which means every one of these people are either one of two statuses. Their definition of citizen would mean two things in the law of nations: inhabitant or a slave. So which is it? In order, an inhabitant it does not have the same what do you call it? Does not have the same status as a citizen. They could be called citizens, but if you don't have the right to address this uh, city council and give orders to it, okay, then there's no way that you would have the right. Sorry, I got interrupted there. So this whole council, if you can't give orders to this council, you're not a part of it. It's not your council. That's the whole thing. The deal is who's behind the council right here. Who's behind this? Well, I see myself. I see. Okay, you got a gold fringe flag there. That's Commander in Chief's flag. Fine. I'm not going to get into all that mess. All I'm going to say is this: inhabitant or slave, inhabitant or slave, inhabitant or slave. Do you actually have a say
Thank you, Ms. Lewis.
in anything? Are you an inhabitant? Are you an inhabitant or a slave? Is this woman an inhabitant or a slave? She is definitely not a citizen, because if you go over to Flint City Council and check their check to see if they've got a social compact, they don't. Okay. Now, the only thing that gives these people power, you got a lot of power, but you have zero authority. Zero authority because there's no social compact that created the city. That means they don't have any police. All police officers here in Flint, city of Flint, and basically all over the world, since they don't have a social compact, are nothing. They're impersonating police officers. They're off the mark. I can prove every bit of it. Not a problem. I can go right through the law of nations and prove to you and everybody else. Okay, what social compact created the U.S. Constitution? Does anybody ever know what that is? It's not the Bill of Rights, because those were amendments to the Constitution. They call it Bill of Rights. I don't know why. Bill of Rights for who? Don't know. It's not a social compact. The social compact is not the Bill of Rights. So, has anybody ever asked, "Hey, can I sign the social compact that created the Constitution of the United States?" Guaranteed, nobody has a copy of it, or they'll possibly send you to the Masons, the local Masonic lodge. I don't. If it doesn't make it legal, if it's not published, and nobody has the right to sign it, or nobody can sign it. What I'm saying here, folks, is this: Flint City Council meeting, or Flint City Council, has no population whatsoever. They might come back and say, "Oh, we have residents." Really? What created Flint City Council in the first place? For you to have residents. Well, we've got local businesses and merchants and all that. Really? Okay. Where did they register their businesses to do business in the city of Flint, or Flint City, if there is no Flint City? Because it was never created by people. Everyone knows that the all cities and all that are created by the authority of the people. So where's the social compact that allows that to happen? Got to have a social compact. Say this behavior is not typical. Well, all right. Now the people, if you created this and you're a social compact member, you signed the social compact to create this council, you could walk in that council at any time. You could have pointed your finger right at that man that was yelling at the other man. You could have both of them thrown in jail within 30 days. That quick. It's quite a dictatorship when you have people within social compact. Because why? Because they violated the social compact. They say, "Oh, the citizens are caught in the middle." There are no citizens. He thinks he's a citizen. So what's happening is these people are living under a delusion. They're giving the appearance that there's citizenship here. And they're giving an appearance that there's a vote. They give the appearance to all these things. And this is only so a third party could legally come in, which is the Rothschilds in the city of London. And what he did was he went around and created all these organizations, these companies, and he started city services, police, garbage, all that kind of crap. It's a good deal. They get credit from his bank. He gets interest off of it, sucks the life out of the county and out of the state and out of the city with his exorbitant taxes and his exorbitant freaking interest. Now, how are you going to get 300 million people to understand that? I mean, T-ROH show, that gets, I'd say, I think last week it was 750,000 hits so far. Okay, within the last 7 days. And let me actually, because people are going to ask, well, we haven't seen that. Let me show you. Okay, here's the web server statistics for the trohshow.com. This is live. All I did was go over and log in. Here's 750,000 right there. It says refer to the 7-day period ending October 30th. All right, and here's the other, because this is at the HTTPS, which is a secure socket layer. And here's the other one. So it's 137,714. So add that to 750,000. That gives you almost, or about 125,000. Hold on a second. Yeah, be 187. So little less, 100,000, 110,000 less than a million hits. All right, now we used to get, before all this crash and we got attacked and everything else, we used to get 4 to 6 million a month. And at one time we had gotten, the highest we'd ever gotten is 29 million hits in 1 month. So that was a good thing. All right, so just so everybody knows, we're not really promoting it as much as we used to. We're not going out and doing things. You'll see the failed request right here. So we go back, and then you've got the gigabytes, or here's 2.33 terabytes of information that's transferred. That's a lot. And this is 12.99 gigabytes per day. So that's what tells you that those are real, and those are not just bots, okay, hitting it. Now, that being said, what we'll do is we'll talk about a little bit more, go back over here, because I always have to prove what I'm saying. This is the biggest circus I have ever seen in my entire life. There is so much ignorance in this whole mess that it is unbelievable. Someone enjoys making complete fools out of everybody in this country. Everyone. Now get it? If you do not have a social compact, the social compact never created the city of Flint. The city of Flint technically does not exist. When we went back to, okay, we started out with the claiming the meets and bounds and seaward boundaries. The next thing we did was create a social compact. Once that was done, the country legally and lawfully, by law, had a population. Again. So the United States, being in this the District of Columbia and Manhattan Island, had to move their territory back, their territorial claim, because the original territory was brought forward through a social compact and a claim of the meets and bounds and seaward boundaries. That's how it works. People get together. They form a contract after they've claimed the meets and bounds, In other words, they have a territory. They get together. They claim. They put a government together so that they can put their claims in to claim their lot of the territory that was just claimed. So, first in time, first in right. If we got there first, which we did in 2009, all other claims are BS, complete crap. We even gave people over, I think, a year to object to what we were doing. Nobody objected. Nobody came forward. Nobody said a word. So we said, okay, good to go. Let's go ahead and move forward. So that objection is gone. That objection time is gone. Then people say, then why are you talking about Anna and all that? Because she has no social compact to create whatever stupid crown claim or royal claim that she thinks she has, and she's ripping people off. I don't like that. And the name of the United States of America, she's bad for the name. She's bad for the country. She's a thief. And she attempts to murder people and silence them if they bring out the fact that she's a thief. So, not good. So we fight that. That's called crime, folks. We're supposed to do that. We see crime everywhere. We saw it in Bill Gates. We saw it with Fauci. We saw it in a lot of different things. But those people are considered inhabitants, according to us, according to the records, the international records that have been established for many years, at least 10 years. Matter of fact, I believe I claimed the United States of America back in 1996 under a document called Cancelatura of Foreign Instruments. We are trying to show you, keep trying to tell you, you need to get a social compact going. In order to do this, we have created a system for you that allows you to do this. In other words, here, it's all been done for you. We even give you a constitution if you want to use it. County Assembly surveys and addresses. We give you a bilateral social compact, a communications center, and also an emergency texting center. We're also going over to some other types of communications that will be there without the internet and all that kind of thing. All right, so you have two political parties in this country. Let me show you how silly this is, how duped everyone is, even Trump, all of the people that are sitting in Washington, even the DOD. This information is way above most of their heads. And that's why we claimed that we have basically whooped any encroachment that has ever come upon the United States of America. Let me just show you a newspaper clipping. Now, while everybody was asleep, the office of the President of the United States of America has been filled and elected since 2013 with no objections. That's because whoever's going along with Anna over there and their group, they're going to have their elections. Remember I said they don't even have elections. Remember I said that? Well, somebody's watching the T-ROH show because they come back and says, "Oh, we're going to have elections in the next 2 years. We're going to have an election for the President of the United States of America." You're 2 years behind. Oh, we got to get a bunch of people together and train them. Good luck with that. We've been doing that for years. Years. Okay? Our first election in 2013. We were 7 years ahead of you. No, 9 years ahead of you. So here's the question I have, folks. Why don't you just come over here and claim residency? Go through to the get a social compact, go over and get your assemblies done, and that's it. It doesn't. It's not a seven. You know, if you fill out 7 pieces of paper or something, then it's all just magically happens. That's not how this works. If you're trying to run a country as a people, you gotta run a country. Now here is the seal. That's the seal of the president for the government of the United States of America. This is the country's second symbol. This was put in when we did this. They tried to associate it with the Indians, but actually wasn't what was going on. They made the buffalo the second symbol, or they recognized it, the button or the buffalo of the country after we had done this. This was a big deal. Why do that in the middle of nothing, right? In the middle of nowhere, out of nowhere, just do that. Well, that's the reason. Okay. Now, the office of the President of the United States of America has been filled since 2013. The President of the United States of America. See this right here? Okay. See that right there? Okay. This entity, lowercase u, this entity right here has already been succeeded by the office of, can also be for, the President of the United States of America since 2013. We've already had this entity right here, but nobody wants to read anything. That one that's being claimed that it has a separate constitution and all this crap, all that BS, we've already had that. It's sitting right in the Articles of Confederation, but nobody reads it. So, okay, keep going, guys. Nobody's paying attention. First in time, first in right stands. We were there before anybody else. It stands. You got no way of doing anything. Anything you do outside of what has already been done is complete garbage. All you have to do, and it's all been done for you, is do a resident declaration, go on over to your state. If you want to work towards your American national status, you can. If not, you can join a social compact and assemble and get your crap together. Other than that, you're a complete waste of time. You look like that city council. You're like these people over here. Completely made fools of. Listening to this garbage over here that doesn't even legally exist. Unless City of Flint is actually registered in the City of London, which makes it foreign to America. Okay. I don't see any reason, if we can't move forward, I don't really even see any reason to keep going with the T-ROH show. It's just a ridiculous thing, because you're just going to not do the right thing because I don't know what the hell's going on with you. In your head, you just won't do it. We got people and it's growing. It's no problem, but it needs to grow a little bit faster because you y'all have no idea what's coming. I'm trying to tell you. Okay, it says we have the same goals, and there's only one person in the way of everyone working together, thereby attacking and usurping the people for the United States of America since 2014. And that person lies, cheats, and steals her way through life. We will continue to defend this country known as the United States of America from all enemies. The people for the United States of America are real, live flesh and blood people, and not inhabitants nor subjects of Pope Francis. Okay, so isn't that funny how they really get into this thing? This is the patriot groups, and they get into this defense. They got to shut you up, right? So that's the first thing they do, like to shut you up. They try to silence you. So they always say, "Oh, we're live flesh and blood people, and you're an entity, so we're going to shut you up. Your word doesn't mean anything." That's an effort to stifle your speech. Well, guess what? All the people for the United States of America, meaning all the people that are in social compact here, are all live flesh and blood people too. We're not entities. We're not corporations. Nothing of that nature. We have corporations that register with our government, but that doesn't mean that you can come in and just start reclassifying everybody when you don't have a social compact yourself. And you do have to have a social compact to create a monarchy. Can't do that without it. Otherwise, you just look like a moron. The Vatican agents are hard at work doing their best to steal the country for their own selfish means, thereby to establish the New World Order. Now, what's going on is this. The reason why we don't, you notice that through this whole thing back and forth, all right, that's been going on, I don't know, for almost a year now. Back and forth, back and forth. Notice the Vatican has Catholic churches that have liens on them in Alaska. We've noticed all of them. They haven't said a word. You see, and it's just a mouthpiece, folks. Just a mouthpiece for what's going on. We've been fighting the New World Order. Because why? Because we have a social compact. We have the metes and bounds and seaward boundaries of the country. We always have. Anybody else that tries to grab them for themselves, or they become stolen. And we've been fighting the New World Order. That's what you've been witnessing for the last year. All the way to 2015 when they did the Blood Moon deal, the 33.5-year Blood Moon. We've been fighting them and fighting them. And guess what? We have people sitting on the side going, oh, man, all you guys do is talk about Anna. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the New World Order. We're talking about who's behind that crazy shit. It's just a mouthpiece, okay, for the New World Order. It's trying to get you back under the Constitution of the United States. It's using the Great Seal of their nation, okay, if you want to call it that, meaning the three city-state empire. That's all that seal comes from. And nothing happens to them. Giving orders under that seal and nothing happens. Think about that for a minute, folks. Someone uses the Great Seal of this country. That's what we call it, right? Isn't that what everybody thinks? Everybody calls it that, even though it's not. And doesn't go to jail? No investigations? No nothing? Huh. Wonder why. Wonder why that is. Wonder why that is. And for the record, it's not the Great Seal of the country. It's just a three city-state empire. I believe it's a corporation that just operates as a company, and that's it. Okay, but I'm not going to try to silence them. If everybody in the world wants to call them a corporation, go ahead, or a country. Who cares? The truth is the truth. There's no social compact that formed it, so sorry. It is what it is. But you know, if you want to play it in La La Land, go ahead. I'm done trying to convince people to get out of their drunken stupor. I'm tired of that. If you can't get this in 200 shows, then I'm sorry, you just beyond help. Okay? Now, the Vatican agents. Now, we have won every battle and well on our way of winning the war. The government of the United States of America, by the will of our Father in heaven through Jesus, has managed to keep the original country safe until Vatican agents finally caught up to our knowledge and began to devise a plan to steal the country and give it to their devil-worshiping master. See, if they can get this country, the United States of America, even though somebody else seems to be like they want to claim it, they can't. They can't do that. It doesn't matter if it's a royal claim or if they believe there's a royal claim. It doesn't matter. It's already been claimed. It's done. You had 6 months. It's over. Just because you were stupid at the time and weren't caught up to us doesn't mean that you've been torted or that you have a right to come back and do anything. You don't have any recourse. It's over. Okay. The Vatican agents have not gained 1 inch of ground since they started. Anyone else claiming the United States of America, the real one? Remember, everybody else's is fake. And then, okay, so I'm going to say everyone else's claim is fake. Ours is the real claim. We actually can prove that. It's the real claim. Everybody else's claim is fake. It's a fraud. because it was after the fact. After the fact. They can't come in and reclassify it as something else. It was after the fact. Okay? Now, the Vatican agents are outwitted and outmatched at every turn, which has forced them to reach out for help from their father, the devil, wherein they began to lie, cheat, and steal their way to a false victory. Anybody claiming that, oh, we've done this and we've done that, complete and utter lie. Bullshit beyond imagination. Haven't gained 1 inch of ground because you have a line of truth and you have a line of falsehood. That line of falsehood has no standing whatsoever. You cannot lie in commerce. Doesn't work. They are no match for our Father in heaven, who saw fit to bestow this great country right into our hands for safekeeping and preservation for future generations. All the subjects of you know who, Vatican agent, are still U.S. citizens, no matter what they do, because their master has lied their way to a false victory and continually lies to them today. Continual lies. All of the Vatican and Crown agents have been tried and convicted. They are easy to outsmart, easy to outwit, and they lie, cheat, and steal to make it appear as if they have proven their point. They attempt to silence their enemies and with false accusations, yet they still have our speech. Yet we still have our speech and cannot be silenced by these wicked inhabitants. Wicked. And there's that seal. This seal stays with us for safekeeping. We keep the metes and bounds of the country and seaward boundaries. We keep the name. We bring people, their person offshore into the states of the Union. And every one of these wicked, wicked people have been trying to usurp it, have been trying to challenge us with massive egos, which still doesn't change any facts. Sorry, you haven't done a thing. Still does not change any facts. Period. Nothing has changed. That's why we just keep moving on like nothing happened. Because why? Because nothing has happened. People are going to go out and vote for their president of the company. That's fine. No problem if that's what you want to do. If you think the country's at stake, it's not. We've been holding it for a long time and we'll continue to hold on to it. And no one's going to change it. No one is going to, not one. Okay. You would have to get every one of the people within the social compact to sign a document handing it over to you in order to get it. You won't be able to do that. Why? Because the original claim went almost a year. I think it was a year actually, before anything was done and it was moved on. Nobody wanted it. But see, the Vatican agents were kind of stupid. You know what I'm saying? They're kind of retarded. They didn't get what happened to them until 2015. They didn't get what happened to them. And that's when it really started ramping up. And then what did they do? They took people that were all upset. Because we had people come over and just create havoc for no reason whatsoever. None whatsoever. They would just come over and wreak havoc. They wouldn't do what they wanted to or they were supposed to do. They would ignore things. They would want to argue and all this other kind of crap, just acting like little children. So we said, look, if you don't want to be here, it's time for you to go back to the U.S. So you need to go back to the three city state empire. Because apparently that's where you like it best. So that's what we would do. And then when we did, what they would do is they would, because there's something much deeper going on here, by the way. What they would do is then all of a sudden I was a dictator. They were wronged. I'm going to get that mean ass Key, the dictator son of a bitch, and I've been called every name in the book, and for no reason whatsoever, because I upheld the law. Yes, I upheld the rules and the law, of which over here we were responsible for. See, over in the U.S., people aren't responsible for the law. They're not really, it's not the law for some reason, or the rules are all placed in a group of people. They have a monopoly on it, and you can get around it by just paying them. You can pay them off. You get it? Even in open court, they'll do it. You pay them 10, 20 grand, you're off the hook. It's over. They don't uphold it. It's crazy. It's a business. They want to make money. Okay, so if they want to shake you down, which is normally what they do, you pay them 20 to 40 grand, you're off the hook. No big deal. Hey, you might get probation. Just do probation 6 months. Makes it look good to all the inhabitants, and everybody thinks that they got justice and all this crap. Breonna Taylor case, the juror came out and said, we didn't have the option of homicide. That kind of tells you everything right there, guys. The lawyers are running the show. There's no law and order. There's no rule of law. It doesn't exist because you don't have a social compact to create the law. If you don't have a social compact, you don't have a legislature to create anything. That's what we keep trying to tell you. It's an abomination to the law. The whole situation is. I'm just openly showing you what's going on for people that know. The whole system is an abomination. They're all coming together. And what it's coming down to is a grand fight between heaven and hell. That's what it looks like to me. That's going on. A much larger picture. There's a reason, I believe, why this country came back, and there's a reason why in 2012 the reign of the heavens was rediscovered, which is a country. There's a reason for all this. I don't know exactly how. Uh, I'm not going to sit here and profess that I do know as to what's going on and why all this is happening. However, we do feel like we're in the middle of it. So, you can't see things when you're in the middle of things and you're too close to it. However, we're going to move on like nothing happened. The union is doing very well. Actually, it's doing very well. You got some really good people in there, good elected officials, all of them doing their job. The court's operating awesomely. Okay, the whole system is operating correctly. General Post Office is operating correctly. Government is operating correctly. Everything's doing just fine. We're just moving forward. We're watching what's going on with this so-called election. We're watching basically the mafia going after I don't know what. It's even hard to even describe what is really going on here. Okay. Because it's so messed up. There's no social compact to create this election, yet you've got one party that's punishing the country because the people or the inhabitants or whatever you want to call them, I don't even know what to call them anymore, because you don't vote for them, so they're gonna okay, we're gonna tear the cities apart until you vote for us. What the hell's that? And then you got the other side that's too much of a wuss to even freaking stand up to them. So the whole thing is almost ridiculous. I can't really call it whatever it is because there's really no identification for it, other than it's an abomination unto all countries and societies around the world, if there are any, if any of them have actually had a social compact written to create the cities or countries that they're in. You see where I'm talking about, folks? This was set up a long time ago so that the New World Order would just come right in legally. You'll see the bigger picture here. We're talking about 100, 200, 300 years back that they knew that a social compact had to be there to create it. So what do? Well, if we want to start a world government, right? We got to make sure that there's no countries in place legally, which means we can't introduce to people that there's a social compact that has to be signed here in order for any of this to exist on paper or through the law of nations. Then we've had judges just dismiss cases and stuff like that because of it, because it's a mess. We're not going to go out there and start bragging and all that kind of crap, because that's just kind of not really who we are. We have kept everybody back internationally and nationally, statewide and countywide. We kept everybody at bay because we've been led by a very, very smart man. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is tell you, look, just relax as far as the country's concerned. Everything's fine. No one who has tried to encroach has gone 1 inch. They haven't gone anywhere. They've done nothing. There's only one way in, and there's only one way out. Just realize that. So we showed you the way in. Took a long time to find it, but we showed you the way in. And if you don't want to take it, then you're out. That's it. There's no way around it. You can't say that, oh, well, that's unfair. It's not unfair because you have a way in and you have a way out. If you decide you don't want to take it, fine. Does not bother us in any way, shape, or form. We have the original states. We have the original meets and bounds. We've got all the meets and bounds of the states. Nobody's moved anywhere. Not 1 inch. Nothing. That's all I can tell you. As far as the truth, we can't. I mean, what it feels like is I'm explaining something to certain groups of people in this country that are just so twisted and wicked that they don't get that what they're doing means absolutely nothing, or what they're trying to do and trying to accomplish. All they're doing is lying to everybody because what they're saying is a complete falsehood. We've had people threaten us to that they were going to tear the union apart. They don't, you're not going to kick me out and all this other kind of stuff. We weren't kicking anybody out, actually. Very ignorant people that we've had to deal with so far. That tells you something. They're living under a delusion. Living under a delusion. An illusion. Trying to tell you something here. Most people are. Because they believe they're invited. They really believe they're invited to the party. And they're not. Has anybody ever walked up to you and said, hey, you need to sign this document here in order to be a part of the United States? It's a social compact. Did you sign it? Anybody ever walk up to you and invite you in and say, here, I want to be a part of the United States. I want you to be a part of the United States. The law is you have to have a social compact. That's the law. So if you don't have that, it's even in your the U.S. Constitution, or Constitution of the United States, whichever one they want to call it today. Law of Nations is in there. And has anybody ever walked up and said, here, voter, why don't you sign this and be a part of the United States? I don't believe anybody has. Or, here, Mr. Resident, why don't you come over here and sign this right there and then put your name on the Constitution of the United States? Can't say that either. because the only ones that signed it are a party to it. Hello, think about it. So, anyways, I don't know what else to say. If anybody would like to make a suggestion that could possibly get through to some people, through to people, how to reach them, to get to a point where we can say, look, you got to have this point that starts here and then goes to here, here, and here. You can't just jump from here to here. It doesn't work that way. You can't go in to a company, uh, fill out an application to work in the mailroom. You get there and then just walk into the CEO's office and say, okay, I'm in charge now. It doesn't work that way. You gotta earn your way up. There are certain steps to get to that point, is all I'm trying to tell you. There are steps you have to make in order to get that. You can't just jump in there and do it. So I'm trying to tell you, there's other people doing the same crap. There's not some miracle paperwork to get you to have this status or that status. Please stop falling for that. Thank you for listening to the 200th broadcast of the T-ROH Show. I hope that after this that you can rest easy. We do have it. We want other people to come in through the resident declaration process. Be patient. Be kind. Be patient. Just take your time and go through the process. And once the process is done, we've got people here that they can't even find in the system anymore. Okay? They'll look them up and they can't find them in the system. They're nowhere to be found. And we get stories like this, the things that have happened to people since coming here. And we're telling you, it really works. If you just do, the right thing and relax and realize, got your country, you're going to be a part of it, then learn to start taking liability for what you, for your country. But any other way, not going to work, never will work, and it's a complete waste of time. You're wasting money, you're wasting time, you're wasting a lot of things. I believe our next move is we're going to have to notify number 11, which is what I call him over in China. X and I, number 11. I guess his name is Z or G or so, whatever his name is. We're going to notify him, say, look, you need to get your troops off of the north and the southern end. You're coming after the United States, and it's not even a freaking country. And you're literally violating the law of nations, and you're because you're messing with the metes and bounds of another country. We would like to know why. We've reported them before on human rights violations. They backed off because they know the law. It's not like over here when you got a bunch of wicked people that are eating children and crap. Okay, and we're not protecting them. Believe me. We want them gone any better, more than anybody else does. We don't like we don't like what's going on here. I don't think anybody else does either. So anyway, we'll get there. Thanks for listening to the 200th broadcast of the T-ROH Show. I wanted to kind of go off the basics and just kind of share with people what's been going on and kind of get an idea of what actually happens and that kind of deal with the real country. All right. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you next week.